My name is Ursula Darby, and I am a public speaker, a certified grief educator, and a psychic medium. And I've been on the front line of grief, spirit, and survival for over 21 years. I'm also a former stand-up comedian. This podcast tells the truth about this work, how it started for me, what it's really like, and the parts that no one will talk about out loud. I'm a skeptic. I hate the language used in this industry, and I hate the cliches all connected and attached to it. This is episode 2. I left off talking about the experiences that I was having in my bedroom in my teens, hearing the movement in my bedroom, still being scared, feeling that presence that has never gone away, like feeling that I even know, like, even it's not even about conjuring it up. I can feel it. Like, as you listen to me, you can think of someone walking into the room behind you and you're not seeing them, but someone's home with you, your mom, dad, cousin's friend, partner, whatever. They walk in the room, they don't say anything, but you feel it and you know it. Nothing else has happened. You don't hear their footsteps on the floor. You don't hear any movement whatsoever. The light doesn't get turned on or things don't get moved, but you know what that feeling is in your body immediately. And that's what I would get right before I'd be falling asleep. And as soon as that thing was there, because I didn't have a name for any of this, I didn't know what it was. I didn't understand any of it. I was terrified all the time that I would feel it. And then my fashion magazines from the 80s were stacked up against my bedroom floor. I was 14. And I would hear the magazine pages flipping, like someone like pulling the pages apart and flip, 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 flip. I would hear that. I mean, they were all supermodels, so I'm sure somebody must have been watching something, but it didn't feel funny at the time. And I talked about the aluminum blinds that I had because they were fantastic in the 80s too. And somebody stroking their finger up and down the aluminum blinds all night long and walking around my room talking to each other, but I couldn't hear them clearly. It was always mumbled. So there was no clarity whatsoever. And I finally had the courage to say to my family, listen, I have some questions. I want to talk to all of you. I talked to my mom, my dad, my brother. And I don't remember exactly what the conversation was, but I know I was really scared. And I talked about what I was seeing, what I was hearing, what I was feeling, what was going on. And I was saying it like I was because I was scared. I didn't feel confident or comfortable in any way in sharing these kinds of things because I didn't know what was wrong with me. And my dad immediately jumped in to say, "Oh, when was what's this bullshit all about?" And I was like, "Well, this is," and I would purposely, being scared, I'd look at my digital clock radio because that's what we had. And I would open an eye and look quickly to see what time it was to kind of prove to myself that I wasn't making any of this up. So I kind of got used to looking at the clock or opening my eyes quickly, catching the time, and just to try to give myself some kind of proof. And I said to him, it was this time and this is what's going on. He's like, "You're full of shit, whatever. I don't believe you. That's, there's stupid talk, whatever." And my mom was the same. And my brother was the same. So I didn't tell him again. I didn't share with them again because nothing fucking stopped. Nothing changed. Nothing got better. In fact, my experiences became even more vivid. And I was always anxious. I felt scared. Like I could feel, I couldn't relax. I couldn't relax. I couldn't be myself. I couldn't relax. I couldn't get to a space where I was like, "Oh, mom, okay. This is okay. This is good." It just didn't happen. And I was having dreams that were coming true. That sounds like a load of crap, but I vividly recall having dreams and conversations with people that I was in high school with. And I have a terrible fucking memory. Ask my friends. I don't have the greatest memory. Of course, what I'm telling you are things that, like, they must be in the bank. They're not going anywhere. Is that I would have dreams of friends and having conversations in the dreams and think nothing of it because it's a fucking dream. Who cares? It's a load of crap. It doesn't mean anything. Just don't attach meaning to it. And so I wouldn't realize until afterwards when these dreams that I'd have conversations with people, and that conversation would happen and come true. And I wasn't approaching these people. I wasn't going, "Hey, I just want to tell you a dream about you." No, it wasn't like that. It transpired. And I didn't rely on it in any kind of way because I didn't know I didn't know what it was at all. And I started having so many experiences, and I became really confused. I was really scared that I was sick. Maybe there was something wrong with my mental health. Maybe I needed a diagnosis of something. Maybe I was really unstable. And I questioned everything about myself. So I became paranoid, thinking, what's wrong with me? Like, what is this? And at that time frame, we're looking at late 80s, early 90s. There wasn't like there weren't resources. Like you couldn't run to the internet and look anything up. You couldn't, I mean, if you went to the library, they would have series of books, right? Like they'd be like volume 1 through 20, and they're like Loch Ness Monster, the Sasquatch, like the haunted house of the. No, there was nothing. If there were books on them, I didn't know where to find them because I didn't know what the fucking words were. I didn't know what this was. I didn't know or understand what was happening to me. I didn't know what this was, and I wasn't telling anyone. If your family tells you that you're fucked and you're making shit up and you're a liar, you're not going to tell anybody because who's the best judgment of you? Your family, because they're the people that live closest to you, so or with you all the time. So yeah, there must have been something wrong with me. So I didn't have the mindset of is, ooh, this is something spooky or interesting. I didn't feel that at all. So they didn't have the words to name what I was going through. And there was a time where it's still like late teens. I think I was almost 19, where we had someone come and pet sit because we were going to go on vacation, a family vacation, and the person that came to pet sit, her and I struck up a friendship. We got to know each other. I thought she was a whole lot of fun. I thought she was interesting. I thought she was really creative and really funny and really dramatic. And it just really kind of put on a show kind of personality. And I was kind of like drawn to, oh my gosh, it's really cool. This person's fantastic. And then she starts to say, oh, well, I'm psychic, And I'm just like, what? You're what? And she's like, well, I'm psychic. I'm like, what do you mean? What does that mean? Like, what's that all about? And we formed a friendship over what she would tell me about her abilities. You've been listening to Ursula Darby. This podcast is the raw truth about grief, spirit, and life with honesty, humor, and no bullshit. So we'll talk about the rest of those things. See you next time.